Thank you, Rob, and good evening. What a fabulous occasion this is, and thanks to Ian and his team for what they've done. It's just continuously wonderful. The sponsors and participants are all to be congratulated. Tonight is one of the highlights of the event calendar internationally these days, and it has been a very humbling experience to have been a judge of the awards process since the beginning. Tonight we are acknowledging the bright spark in the industry. Our paths have crossed in many ways, and it's interesting to know that we both started real-time work at John Clemenger Advertising, and both of us eventually getting retrenched, which is another word for being fired. I started a bit earlier than he did in Sydney, but that's beside the point. But I did not start at $25 a week in the school holidays working with the Moomba Festival. After producing more than 1,500 events over 25 years under a banner that the late David Grant suggested, awards have been cascading. Internationally acclaimed David Grant was a great colleague and is remembered daily by all of us. Tonight we have some of the previous inductees to the Hall of Fame, including my best friend Lena Maloof and my great mate Mary Took, amongst many others in the room. Tonight we're recognising someone who has received awards from MIA, which is the Meetings Events Association, the International Special Events Society, otherwise known as ISIS, although we can't call it that in the current climate, and God only knows what they all got up to while that was all going on. He was also a previous judge of the event awards, speaker and lecturer at many MIA events, involved in the William Angliss Institute, chair of the Victorian Events Council, board member of Destination Victoria and board member of Melbourne, the Moomba Festival. Awards have been dripping off their fingers like gold ring jewellery. Can you believe the Dome at the Olympic Park in Sydney, which I only had to go and visit, unfortunately, being festooned in lights like a circus tent for the launch of a car. Thousands dining on the hallowed turf of the MCG, a dinner for 9 for a 100th birthday. Now I would like you all to be upstanding, and can I have the lights up, please? This is a stupid thing about circulation now that you've all been sitting down for too long, eating too much and drinking too much, and generally having a good time. Now I'd like you all to turn to the person next to you. Hug them, a big hug.
Hang on, come in. Funny thing.
And I want you all to shout, "I love you!"
I love you!
Now please welcome the recipient of the 2016 Hall of Fame, Peter Jones.
I think I need to give you a hug, Glenn, after that introduction. Thank you. That's fantastic. Let me hold that, mate. Thank you very much indeed. Well, that is the most fantastic introduction, Glenn, and it's something I do appreciate indeed. You'll have to excuse me, when you get to my age, these come in. And I have prepared a little speech tonight, but don't worry, it's 4 minutes and 36 seconds, because I've been around long enough to know when to get on and when to get off. Firstly, Glenn, to the very kind introduction. You're one of the first people I met in this industry, and the only man I know who could turn up to a business session at a MIA concert at 9 a.m. in the morning wearing exactly the same dinner suit I was last seen in 8 hours before. How you did that on Hamilton Island in that heat is still beyond me. Tonight is a great honour, and I'm truly humbled by the committee in presenting me with this award. This year, Peter Jones Special Events turns 25, and that's something that I'm very proud of. I can still remember the day I got retrenched from Clemens and Carlson Marketing, and I had no idea what I was going to do. I couldn't even tell my parents for 3 weeks because I had literally nothing to do. When I did say to Mum and Dad, I'm going to start a company that organises parties, they smiled politely. Even years later, they said, when are you going to get a real job? 25 years later, I'm still looking, as no one then ever took you seriously when you said, I'm a party planner. It's amazing how far the events industry has come in that time. My first event was when I was 16, when I went to work in the school holidays for the Moomba Festival. The lure of $25 a week was too much, plus the added bonus of being able to meet the Moomba Queen. At that age, I would have paid them the opportunity to meet her, but I wasn't going to tell them that. And when I look back, that is probably when it all started in terms of where I ended up today. It's amazing what a small opportunity can lead to. All these years later, with lots of events and more grey hair, it has been a privilege to be part of this industry. One of the many things I've observed in all walks of life is that some people are only too happy to criticise others, but never get off their backsides to do anything about it. Absolutely drives me mad. I swore that that would never be me, which is why I've always felt it important to contribute in some way to the industry that is part of my life. To be involved with the various industry organisations has been an honour, and I've definitely learnt more than I have been ever able to contribute. Any industry is only as important as the people who support it, and that is evident with all of you being here tonight for the awards. Now, I am a little bit biased, and considering I'm sitting next to the State Tourism Minister for South Australia, but I believe Melbourne has led the way in creating major event strategy which reflects sporting, cultural and business events. Slightly biased. The good thing is, though, that each state now understands how important the events industry is and how we are all engaged by its development. I can remember many years ago saying to a journalist in Melbourne, very casually, at the moment, Melbourne is so hot, we should be going after events such as the Tour de France, Super Bowl, Wimbledon, and the biggest of them all, Eurovision. The next day, it was in the papers, headlines, Melbourne secures Super Bowl. Needless to say, it created a lot of discussion, and I quickly learnt my lesson when they started ringing up saying, when is Super Bowl coming to Melbourne? But it didn't hurt, and it drew attention to the value of the events industry we all work in. But tonight I'm here to let you in a little secret. I don't possess the creative flavour of David Atkins, the style of David Churches, the longevity and business acumen of Peter Ricks, the logistical talents of Mary Lopez, the style and panache of Lena Malouf, the industry dedication of its education run by Johnny Allen, the drinking and partying ability of Di Henry, the global experience of Sandy Holloway, the ability to survive and prosper in government like John Trevelyan, the sheer front and confidence of the late David Grant, the I'll fix it for you, Peter, as I know you have no idea ability of Mary Took, and the leadership of the person who gave me my real break, and that is Ron Walker, who all of us in this room owe a huge debt, because without some involvement from all those years ago, events in Melbourne would never have taken off. All of these people are extremely worthy recipients of this award. So why am I here? I first thought that Ian had rung the wrong number, but literally I actually rang him back and said, is this correct? And he said, Peter, we're going to honour you tonight, and I was very thankful for that. Why am I here? Because I like to think that I've taken a small piece from each of them in how to conduct oneself and create a successful career. What I've learned from this group and many others here in the room tonight has been invaluable to me as I've made my way. So tonight, my 5 minutes of fame is all about me, but it's about me for one reason only, to say thank you to everyone for your continued support and friendship. Now, what's important is that I want to make sure that the next 16-year-old kid who wants to meet the Moomba Queen has the opportunity to do so, just like I did. For that reason alone, I take this wonderful award as a deposit for the next ever-evolving stages of my professional career, and I look forward to that time just as much as I have done over the last 25 years. Thank you very much.